These are some of the biggest burger chains in the world, but each follows a slightly different playbook to drive their success. Some obsess over simplicity and build a cult following. Others elevate fast food into a premium experience. And still another quietly dominates the real estate beneath the restaurants. Here are the strategies that built these 5 burger empires. So we're going to start with McDonald's. The things that really stand out about McDonald's are its consistency, the fact that it is everywhere, so it's a mass market brand, and there's a secret behind the real estate of their restaurants. Now, here's the thing you might not know about McDonald's. Even though they are a fast food brand, they're really a real estate empire. Of all the units around the world, McDonald's owns 80% of those units and 57% of the land underneath those restaurants. So this real estate strategy is a big moneymaker for the company. And it's very different from other fast food brands where most of the times the franchisees are the ones who actually own the land that they operate on. So this means that McDonald's actually has 3 revenue streams from their franchisees: the franchise fee, the percentage of sales as a royalty, and then also the rent they collect. And according to one study by Macquarie, 60% of McDonald's revenues come from their real estate revenue. So it's a big driver of their financial performance. And this creates an extra advantage because this is a really stable source of revenue. Unlike the prices on their menu, which might fluctuate, they can always bank on making money off of their real estate. And size matters in this industry. Because they have so many units, McDonald's is everywhere, which means it's super convenient. Real estate experts estimate that if McDonald's actually spun off its real estate business, it would be a $120 billion enterprise. McDonald's is really a global empire. They are ubiquitous, and that actually translates into brand strength. It's well known as probably the most recognizable brand in the world. And there's certain elements of the brand that really stand out. You know, there's the golden arches, right? But then there's a red color that's signature for them. I actually saw one study that showed that kids around the age of 3 actually recognize the McDonald's brand and logo before they can even read. And they prefer the taste of products that come out of a bag with the brand on it versus products that are the same but from a different source. McDonald's brand is really tied to some very core menu items. So I'm talking about products like the Big Mac, the Quarter Pounder, Chicken McNuggets, and definitely their fries. So let's face it, McDonald's burgers and products are really not the best quality or best tasting out there. But what they have as their strength is consistency. When customers order a Big Mac, you know, they know that it's going to be the same whether they are in Paris or Pennsylvania. It's really something that builds a lot of trust in the brand. Having that kind of equity in an existing product is really a core strength for the brand. McDonald's has kind of a dual product strategy, actually. They do have these core menu items that you can get anywhere in the world, but then they will customize their menu to local preferences. So for example, if you were to go into a restaurant in Southeast Asia, you would actually find products with a specific taste profile for consumers in that region. And this localization extends to the way they design their restaurants. Like in Italy, they'll kind of have like this pastry section with the pastry counter, kind of emphasizing the specific products for that market. You know, I'm amazed that people love McDonald's, even though, as we talked about, their products probably aren't the best, but there's something that has built over time for people growing up eating McDonald's. It just becomes a part of their lives, and it's really something that I think leads to a lot of loyalty for the brand. Next up, In-N-Out, a brand that has really built a cult following in the burger wars. In-N-Out's kind of like this rare case in the fast food world. You know, it's built this great brand and cult following without a lot of marketing. It doesn't have national distribution, and its menu is very simple. In-N-Out started around the time when McDonald's was really kind of taking off. McDonald's was trying to grow as fast as possible by standardizing everything within their operations. In-N-Out kind of took almost the exact opposite approach and really took much more of a disciplined, controlled approach to growth. Their whole philosophy is that the experience should be entertaining for customers and their food should be fresh. In-N-Out is really like a family company. It doesn't franchise any of its locations. So the family itself and Lindsay Snyder, who's now currently at the helm of the company, exercise very tight control over their locations and their operations. This is really a benefit to In-N-Out because they can ensure that their experience is better and more consistent. They don't feel the pressure that other chains do, with public investors or Wall Street really scrutinizing everything that they're doing. They can control their growth and make decisions that may seem kind of counterintuitive.
So if you're watching this thinking, I want to analyze another industry the same way Denise just did here, we made a tool for that. It's a custom GPT designed to help you break down any market like an expert, using 5 lenses: positioning, product strategy, marketing, business model, and growth strategy. For instance, say you're curious why a newer coffee chain is doing so well. You could type, compare Starbucks, Dunkin', and Dutch Bros. What's driving Dutch Bros' growth? Whether you're exploring a new market, working on a business idea, or just curious about how an industry works, it's designed to give you a structured, competitive breakdown fast. To access it, just log into your ChatGPT account and scan the QR code on screen, or click the link in the description.
In-N-Out really stands out for its radical menu simplicity. Look at this. They only have burgers, fries, and shakes. Now, they do have a secret menu that you can order with special kinds of ingredients, but in general, this simplicity of menu enables them to have a much more simple operation. And what this does is it limits customers' choice, but that's actually a good thing. Studies have shown that there's this paradox of choice. If you give consumers too many options, they shut down and they end up ordering less. Whereas In-N-Out really benefits from kind of offering just a few items and then executing on them really well. And this really goes kind of against the standard fast food playbook, where other brands are always trying to introduce new products and they really push product innovation. And that's because they're trying to generate all this news to drive traffic into their restaurants. In-N-Out doesn't need to do that because they have such a great product and a great experience. Their customer experience does their marketing for them. And this simplicity not only benefits customers, it benefits the company operations. They're able to have better quality control because there are fewer ingredients they have to work with. That also means that the supply chain can be more efficient. And this translates into better products, like fresher ingredients. They use whole potatoes that they cut in store, and you can see them actually kind of advertising that on their product packaging. Their burger patties are always fresh, never frozen. Their produce is also really fresh. Because In-N-Out is vertically integrated, meaning that they control their distribution center, their supply chain, their operations, their costs are lower, and that translates into greater profitability. Now, this does limit the chain's ability to expand quickly, but In-N-Out has deliberately chosen to go this premium route with their quality ingredients and freshness so that they can offer a better experience for their customers. In-N-Out has always been kind of like this cult brand. It's got this loyal following of people that will seek it out. Most fast food restaurants, they obsess over trying to deliver on speed of service, trying to shave seconds off of their drive-through times. Whereas In-N-Out, they will have lines extending out from their drive-thrus that people have been shown to wait 4 hours when a new location starts. In-N-Out does a little bit of radio and outdoor advertising, but they don't spend a lot of money on marketing. They rely on their customer experience and word of mouth and the brand loyalty and the long lines coming out of their drive-thrus to do their marketing for them. Another thing that really differentiates In-N-Out is the investment they make in their employees. They pay their employees more and they go out of their way to make the experience for employees something that's fun and enjoyable. And this translates directly into a better customer experience. And that translates into higher margins. So even though they're spending more on labor, which is a pain point for most companies in the fast food industry, In-N-Out is able to make more money per unit because of their better experience. In-N-Out's investment in their employees also means that they benefit from lower turnover, something that a lot of other chains struggle with. and they tend to promote employees from within. So it's a brand that employees want to be part of just as much as customers do. In-N-Out shows that as a brand, you can do everything almost opposite of the standard industry norms. In fact, you can challenge the industry standards and come out winning. The next brand we're going to talk about is Burger King. It's really the challenger brand. Burger King is known as the home of the Whopper. And this Whopper actually embodies the three things that really stand out about the Burger King brand. The first is customization. And the fact that you use the tagline, "Have it your way," means that you can have the product with the different toppings that you prefer. Also, the Whopper is flame grilled, which means it tastes better and probably has kind of more of a premium quality to it versus the flat top grills that are used at McDonald's. And that then really speaks to the challenger brand status of Burger King. Challenger brand is a notion that brand strategist Adam Morgan had coined to talk about how brands that are maybe second in their industry when they're competing against the big fish like a McDonald's can actually use different tactics to really stand out and position themselves as challenging the status quo that is established by the big brand. When Burger King first started, flame grilling was a big selling point. They tend to show flames in their commercials, like either as a motif in the background or actually showing the burgers being cooked on a flame grill to reinforce that concept that their burgers are prepared differently. And Burger King is always emphasizing the size of their Whopper. They just think about the name Whopper. That sounds huge, and they're always promoting how much bigger it is than McDonald's like Big Mac or Quarter Pounder.
You got one big hit.
Well, the Whopper's one big hamburger.
Burger King actually uses some different brand cues. One of them is the concept of being the Burger King. But it also maybe subtly communicates that you as a customer are king and that you can get your burger the way that you want it. Have it your way really stands out for Burger King in comparison to McDonald's, because McDonald's really emphasizes consistency, whereas Burger King with Have It Your Way says, hey, you have control over what you're eating. If you don't like pickles, you don't have to have pickles on your burger. It makes customers feel more like they have agency over what they're eating. So one of the keys to being a challenger brand is that you don't have as much money or marketing muscle as maybe the lead brand in the industry. So you want to use creative marketing techniques to really stand out. And Burger King does just that. One of their campaigns actually filmed a burger decomposing in real time over 28 days. It's kind of gross with all this moldiness, but it really stands out and sticks with people and reminds them of how fresh and tasty their burgers are. So like McDonald's, Burger King does franchise its locations, but most of the franchisees at Burger King own their property, or at least Burger King, the corporation, doesn't own it. So that means that Burger King doesn't have that revenue coming from real estate, and it also doesn't have the control over the franchisees that McDonald's does. At the end of the day, Burger King is really about the Whopper, and it makes their food kind of the centerpiece of their brand. Next, we're going to talk about Wendy's, and this brand is really all about quality. Wendy's came on the scene slightly later than some of the other burger chains. It started in 1969 by Dave Thomas, and so it really had to kind of position itself against these existing competitors, and it did so by emphasizing the premium and freshness and quality of its products. One of the primary ways that they emphasized the premium quality of their products was in the beef that they used in their burgers. So it was 100% beef, fresh, never frozen, kind of taking a jab at McDonald's and the kind of the consistency that they have with their products. They shaped their patties in squares so that they would actually hang off the sides of the burgers and look bigger. And this premium positioning has extended to the rest of their menus. So Wendy's is actually known for having salads, really good salads that are kind of a surprise for fast food. And even their Frosty is not your standard fast food shake. It's definitely positioned to be a competitor to the traditional fast food. Wendy's pricing has reflected this kind of premium positioning also, where their prices have actually been higher than McDonald's in some cases, but still lower than a fast casual restaurant like Chipotle or even a diner. So they're trying to kind of play in this middle ground. Wendy's has kind of promoted this like old-fashioned image, even its brand cues suggested like Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers. Their initial marketing campaigns were all centered around Dave Thomas, the founder, who was kind of like this folksy old-timer. Over time, they went to more of a product marketing approach, and this famous campaign, Where's the Beef?, where they really drew attention to having better quality beef and bigger beef.
Where's the beef?
Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun.
Where's the beef?
Kind of taking a jab at the small burgers or small patties at a McDonald's. And Where's the Beef actually became this kind of cultural meme. Chains really rely upon these kind of cultural moments where their marketing might take off and become part of like the lexicon or the landscape. And that helps the brand not only stand out, but also seem more relevant. And this is particularly in line with Wendy's social media strategy today. It's really kind of aimed to own the Twitter sphere, or now X, with kind of a sassy, snarky, almost sarcastic personality. So they're really trying to kind of use their social media as a differentiator for the brand. The deeper challenge for Wendy's is that their kind of premium quality positioning is less of a differentiator now that other brands like Shake Shack or Five Guys have come on the market. And so they've kind of struggled to really maintain a differentiated positioning. They're doing a few things to address that. Operationally, they have been closing some of their underperforming restaurants so that the overall experience that people get is greater. Now today, we'll see how their shift in brand positioning really turns out for them. Now we're going to talk about a brand that positions itself as a premium, Shake Shack. Shake Shack really offers kind of like this elevated experience with better food, better ingredients, kind of vibe that is more hip and modern, iconic locations. It's really kind of positioned as the unfast food brand. Instead of going after families or people who are really just seeking out value, like the most food for the lowest price, it really positions itself more to a premium customer, kind of that urban foodie who appreciates the products that they offer, the elevated experience, and is willing to pay the extra price. So Shake Shack's first burger location was actually in Madison Square Park in New York. Using high-profile locations is an intentional strategy on Shake Shack's part. Shake Shack makes their locations more destinations that people actually want to go out of their way to visit and take a picture at and kind of say, hey, I was there. Hospitality is a kind of core underpinning of the experience at Shake Shack. This comes from the founder, Danny Meyer, coming from fine dining, where he really saw the benefit of people feeling welcome from the music they play to the design of their stores, just kind of the overall vibe that the employees give off. And they also are using distinctive visuals to set themselves apart. I love how their bags, their takeout bags, actually look really different from other fast food brands. It's a nicer bag, it's got handles, and it doesn't have Shake Shack blasted all over it. Part of the differentiation of Shake Shack is actually their menu. So they have a lot of similar products to other fast food restaurants, but there's a twist. Burger King tried to position itself kind of as maybe more of a premium burger brand, and Wendy's tried to emphasize the freshness and quality, and Shake Shack has all of that. But then they also have unique items that you don't find on other fast food menus. For example, at Shake Shack, you can actually get avocado on your menu. And this is pretty significant. It doesn't seem like it, but from an operational complexity standpoint, you think about avocados, their freshness, their window is pretty short, and very few restaurants would attempt to offer something like that. But Shake Shack does and can, because they're willing to kind of have a little bit more of a complex kitchen operation, and their customers who are foodies appreciate having options like that. Shake Shack also uses limited time only offers like a truffle burger. So again, using very premium, unusual ingredient for fast food to stand out and to drive traffic to their restaurants. They also pursue a lot of collaborations with famous chefs like Dominique Crenn. This also speaks to, again, the kind of foodie appeal of the brand, and it gives people a reason to come into their restaurant at a specific time. Compared to other burger chains, Shake Shack's prices are more expensive. Like this menu from Virginia shows a single burger for $7.25 and a double for $10. That's almost twice as much as you pay like at a McDonald's or a Burger King, but their customers are willing to pay it because they're getting an elevated experience. Shake Shack doesn't do kind of the standard fast food marketing. You know, they're more leaning into like social media buzz and word of mouth to drive their sales. One of the things that they say in the industry is that having a big advertising budget is the price you pay for not having a great product or great experience. And Shake Shack shows that when you do have those things, you don't have to spend a lot of money on your marketing. Another differentiator is that Shake Shack owns almost all of its units, especially here in the US. That means that it can really control the experience that guests get and really ensure that the quality of the experience is elevated and consistent across all of its units. So now that we looked at all 5 of these brands, it's clear that each one of them uses a different strategy to get ahead. And it shows that in order to win, you can do something completely different from the industry, you can stay the course, or you can try to one-up each other and really try to dominate the industry that way.